Hi, I'm Starborn. Remember, to be a star, you have to shine your own light, follow your own path, and not be afraid of the darkness, because that's when stars shine brightest. If you've been looking at our website, starborninstitute.org, you'd already know that the title of tonight's show is Big Money Saves the Day, or it could be Big Money Comes to the Rescue. And that is because a rather wonderful thing is happening in the heavens this week, and you may be able to benefit from it. And that is because there are 4 planets that are trining each other in the earth signs. There are another 4 planets in the water signs. So that's 8 planets out of the 10, and the way they are positioned, all 8 of these planets sextile each other. And a sextile represents opportunity. And so with 8 planets doing that, there can be a lot of opportunities to, if you are in need of something, that you may have that need fulfilled. And so we start with the 4 planets that are in the earth signs. And that is because the sun has changed signs now. It has gone into Taurus, and it's at 0 degrees of Taurus today. And it's going to be staying in Taurus for a while, because 10 days from now, on April 30th, the last day of the month, there will be a second new moon in April, and that will be a solar eclipse in Taurus. So the sun has just gone into Taurus, and it is joining Mercury and Uranus in Taurus. Both of these planets are planets of change, but they're different kinds of change. Mercury rules Gemini and it rules Virgo. And Mercury rules communication and change, and it could be easy transitional change. Uranus, on the other hand, rules sudden surprising change. So it's like for better or worse. And you don't want bad things to happen, but at the same time, there could be instead some adjustments made that can bring about help from people who have a lot of money. Taurus is a fixed financial sign, and so we are sort of talking about big money right now, or people who have big money. And with the solar eclipse coming up in 10 days, maybe they are thinking now of things that they can do perhaps to help others. Because the 3 planets in Taurus right now are trining a 4th planet, Pluto, in Capricorn. And Pluto is at the 29th degree of fate in Capricorn, which rules large corporations and government agencies and institutions. And it rules Pluto generally rules people in top management. And so this could be the heads of corporations, or it could be the heads of government offices or agencies. It could be the heads of whole governments. And since the 3 planets in Taurus are trining this Pluto in Capricorn, and all 4 of those planets are also trining the sign of Virgo, which rules your health, and it also rules service to others, there is a very good chance that there are a lot of people around right now who do have money, or agencies that have money in their budgets, who are willing to aid and assist those in dire circumstances who have been victimized, perhaps by war, or by rebellion, or by natural disasters that have just turned their lives upside down. And so this is a time when there can be some people that really are pretty smart and know what they're doing, and they could be putting their money where their mouth is. They could be deciding, okay, maybe what we could do is get together some sort of loan program for people who have been affected by a natural disaster, such as the tornadoes that have been going across America, or the floods in South Africa, or war going on in Ukraine. I mean, all of these things have disrupted people's lifestyles. So there could be wealthy people getting together, or governments, this could be whole governments, who are deciding, gee, we've got to do something to help. And this could be helping people out of very dire circumstances. It could also be something where they're teaching them or giving them money to rebuild their communities, and in a way that can promote self-sufficiency. In other words, there could be training programs that could train people to get better educational skills so that they can make a better standard of living for themselves and their family. That would be possible. And so these things are going through the minds of influential people who have made their own money, or governments that have the money, and they are thinking in broad terms of how to aid and assist others in dire circumstances. Well, that's just from the planets in earth signs. Well, there's 4 more planets in the water signs, and they are sextiling both the sign of Taurus and the sign of Capricorn, where the 4 earth sign planets are. And that's because all 4 planets are in just one water sign. They're in Pisces. Pisces rules charity, and it does rule, it also rules deceptions or omissions or secret covert activities behind the scenes. Someone may want to be a little angel to somebody else and not want any thanks for it, but just want to volunteer or want to help out. And so there's that feeling. All the water signs are somewhat emotional, and all the water signs rule healing. So there can be people around that just want to lend a helping hand, or will share what they've got with others in a dire predicament, or will lend their expertise to help improve someone else's life. So they're sort of coming from what they can do for somebody else, and the 4 planets in Taurus are coming from how they can buy or set up something for others that will rebuild their communities or help them better themselves in some way. So this is actually, I mean, the title of the show is not a joke, and it is big money saves the day. It's that whole governments are getting together and saying, hey, we got to help out here. Or it can be that people who have made a lot of money and they're pretty smart, or they couldn't have done that, are deciding, gee, they need to do something in one way or another. And it's probably in a way that they're familiar with. So I just wanted you to know that there is that possibility coming up. And since the sun just went into Taurus and it's just at 0 degrees, we may see this influence going on for weeks. And that's because it takes time to set up a program, a rescue program of some sort, or an educational program of some sort. It does take a while to set that up. And in the meantime, these people that have strong planets in Pisces and strong feelings of sympathy and support for others, they're just going to simply do whatever they can, and whatever is at their disposal. So that can be more immediate. But anyway, that's 8 out of the 10 planets. And we may see this all culminate in about 10 days when that solar eclipse occurs in Taurus. Because eclipses are big deals, and that will be the first eclipse of the year. And it is a partial solar eclipse. Solar eclipses always denote new beginnings. So we have that to look forward to. Some way that there is an attitude of wanting to aid and assist those of less fortunate. And all of us in one way or another may be thinking like that. Or if you're in a circumstance, through the tornadoes that have been going on. Or in the summer, there's always wildfires that are disastrous. Or in the winter, there are floods from the high snows. And that can be harmful to people's homes. So there's all kinds of ways we can help each other. And I hope that we sort of all get our act together and just do what we can. And that is going to help other people. I think when you give a helping hand, there's something very nice about that, because your generosity of spirit generally comes back in the form of someone else's gratitude or love. And so it's a very nice thing to do. And so I hope you think about that, because there's plenty of people in the world that really need a lot of help right now. Okay, what does this mean to all 12 of the sun signs? Aries. Well, there is one fire sign. There is one fire sign that has a planet in it, Aries. It's not yours. The sun has moved on, so the sun's not in your sign anymore. But the moon today is in Sagittarius, trining your sun, Aries. And that's good. It could be that you have concerns about people in foreign countries, or you may want to be involved in some sort of educational program that helps train people to increase their skills so they can make a better living. So that could happen. Also, you could be deciding to travel to a foreign country or to welcome visitors from a foreign country. You could do that. You could even be involved with a college or a university. So all those things are ruled by Sagittarius. And so, Aries, I think, though, that you are going to be very concerned with what you might call big money right now. And that's because there are 3 planets right ahead of your sun sign in Taurus. It's the Sun, Mercury, and Uranus. So I don't know if it's your money that you are really concerned with right now, or if it's helping other people raise money in order to help others, perhaps, or if you're just thinking about buying and selling some of your investments. You can have all that on your mind right now, Aries. And I would say that if that's the way you're thinking about money, I think you're going to keep on that. I think you're going to say to yourself, okay, I want to try something new and it's going to cost money. How am I going to raise the money? Well, don't worry, Aries, you'll find a way. Because next month in May, Jupiter is coming into your sign. And your life is going to expand in one way or another. And so I think you should try maybe a little harder to prepare for an expansion in your life, Aries, because I would say it's pretty close. If it hasn't already started, it's going to start pretty soon. And it will broaden your activities. It'll give you something new to do or new to think about, or some way that you can be of assistance to others. That would be fine. But I do think you're going to be concerned with your investments or something new and wondering how to pay for it. And I think that should all work out. So keep thinking like that, Aries. Okay, what does it mean to a Taurus? Well, Taurus, gee, your sign is getting pretty heavy with planets right now, Taurus, and there will be more to come. And that is because now the Sun is in your sign, Mercury is in your sign, and so is Uranus. And Mercury and Uranus are conjuncting each other. I think one's at 14 degrees and one's at 18 degrees. And so all 3 of those planets are trining the powerhouse planet Pluto at 29 degrees of Capricorn. And together those 4 planets are also trining the sign of Virgo. So Taurus, your sign rules very hard work. And so I don't think that you are going to be too happy with people who are sort of being lazy right now, or they're not showing up for work, or they've got an attitude that others should be working for them instead. I think you're really concerned with stalwart, lion-hearted friends that you have that work just as hard as you do, Taurus. or that value the results of their labors just as highly as you value yours. And so you could know some people that might be sort of getting together in order to help others who are in dire conditions right now. And you may also just be talking with others, and some people could be saying, oh, you know, if we pooled our resources, maybe we could make a loan to a group so that they could rebuild their lives. Say people who had been in a war, or people who had been involved in a rebellion. And so rather than them succumb to captivity, if they had some sort of loan to rebuild their communities and their lives, they would still have their freedom. Do you see, your money can sort of do double duty right now. Your money can actually buy some good things that other people need, but in turn, that can promote your values as well. In other words, if you were giving money to a good cause right now that upheld the cherished beliefs that you share with others, your money would be doing double duty. It would be solving a practical problem, but it would also be furthering big concepts like freedom and freedom of choice and freedom to live your own life, your way. So those things are ahead of you. You are about to make a new start, Taurus. And it could be next month. The eclipse in your sign is in 10 days. It's going to be, it's a partial eclipse, but it is well aspected. Because you see, your sign has been having continual support from Pluto in Capricorn for years. And it's going to continue. Pluto in Capricorn, Pluto does not leave Capricorn. It's at the 29th degree of Capricorn, and then it's going to go retrograde. So it'll go back through the sign. Then it'll have to turn around and come back again. It's going to be in Capricorn for a long time. And so, you know, it's sort of reached a culmination point at the 29th degree, but then it's going to go retrograde. However, it has been trining your sun the whole time, backing you up. And I think now it's going to be sort of a mutual or some sort of reciprocity here, where others who have been backing you up are now going to be there, if you want to join with them, to back others up who are in dire straits, or who are really hurting. And when I say that big money saves the day, I mean that on different levels. And so yours is a money sign, yes, but it's a very hard-working, practical sign. And I'm sure that if you were going to do something altruistic with your money, you would want it to solve a practical problem, and you would want to see the results from that solution. In other words, you want to make sure your money is well spent. And I don't blame you. I think you should do that. But I do think if you are thinking of parting with some of your money to help those less fortunate right now, that it will lead you further into something new that is really good for you. And you could see the effect of that by next November, when there is a lunar eclipse in Taurus. Remember, all the eclipses this year, there's 4 of them, are only in the financial signs. So this is what we're all looking at, is either how to make the money, how to distribute it so that it can do some good, or how to keep growing it. Money is supposed to grow, but it might change forms in order to do that. In other words, people work hard for a paycheck. Well, they may put that paycheck into an investment, Well, that investment might grow and grow. And then they have extra money to put into either other investments or into some sort of good cause. Do you see what I mean? The money, depending on what you're using it for, it sort of changes forms. And that would be okay with you, Taurus, as long as it solved a practical problem, not an esoteric problem, and nothing too experimental, but just if a community needs some loans in order to get back on its feet, that's a practical problem. And so I think that it may lead you into doing more of that, because your life you should be sort of making some sort of new start in May, right after the eclipse. And that may grow to you taking on deeper responsibility by November, even moving by November, depending on what you decide to do coming right up. Okay, what does it mean to a Gemini? Gemini. Well, Gemini, you could be pretty busy in the background of your life, and not too many people would see you doing that. And the reason why is that right behind your sun sign is where there's a buildup of planets now. The Sun, Mercury, your own ruler, and Uranus are all in Taurus right behind your sun sign. And your sun sign is still being beneficially trined and supported by Saturn in Aquarius. And so you have had a lot of strong backup for a couple of years now, Gemini, and that's good. But, sooner or later you got to do something with it. You may certainly be getting ready to start something new that could involve a big money that saves the day, or it could involve just a sympathetic outpouring for others that, you could say, oh, I can volunteer here, or I can do something, or I can give something and help people around you. You could do that, Gemini, easily, very easily. And so that would sort of broaden the circumstances in your immediate vicinity. In other words, you could venture forth a little bit more, and you could reach out. And don't worry, there's going to be plenty of people that will be glad to see you, and it is without you sacrificing any of that strength that is backing you up. You will still retain that. So there can be change. There could be some sort of change in the way you handle your money. Remember, Mercury rules change, but it's easy transitional change. You may be thinking of a different kind of investment, or maybe taking on a part-time job. Even if you've retired, you could be thinking of taking on a part-time job. That would be fine. It might be as in a volunteer position helping others. So I think that your life is going to expand a little bit, Gemini, but it will be at a sort of an easy everyday level that you'll be very comfortable with. In fact, it may surprise you how comfortable you will be if you just reach out a little bit now into your surrounding neighborhood or into your community. It'll really do you a lot of good. Okay, what does it mean to a Cancer? Cancer. Well, Cancer, I said there are 4 planets in the earth signs, and then there are 4 more in the water signs, and all 8 of these planets sextile each other. So they represent a whole lot of opportunities or different ways that big money could save the day, or that we could come to the rescue of others in dire circumstances right now and help them out a little bit. Well, nothing wrong with that. And it might take just hard work, but Cancer, yours is a very nurturing sign. And you got to do something with that, Cancer. Don't sit home alone, because the 4 planets in Pisces, which are Mars and Venus, Jupiter, and Neptune, are all trining your sun. And that simply means that they are pouring thoughts of compassion and sympathy for others that are less fortunate into some sort of message that you can be getting right now, Cancer. Or maybe it's that we have all been inundated with so much bad news about the terrible things that are happening to other people that we finally are waking up ourselves now from this sort of semi-dormant state that we were in for 2 years during the pandemic. Well, now we're just all waking up and thinking, gee whiz, the world is in a mess. We got to help it out. And that's true. And Cancer is very nurturing. And Cancer, you could do a lot of good to people who are suffering right now, or who are less fortunate, or who need a helping hand, if you just sat down and sort of thought and asked yourself, well, what can I do? Cancers and all the water signs are very good at being sympathetically supportive of others. And sometimes that takes money, but more often it takes a contact with others, or talking to others, or showing people you understand what the problem is. I mean, sometimes people are just thinking that they're all alone with their problems, but if people start talking to each other, they can figure out how to help each other out. And so, Cancer, yours is the sign of the crab. And so whenever you're affected by something, or generally when you get your feelings hurt, Cancers sort of crawl into their shell and stay there for a while because they have very tender feelings. But whose feelings are more important now? Yours or the people that are suffering a whole lot more than you are? See, it's time to come out of the shell and find some way to use your own talents, even if it's just sharing some things, extra things that you have in your home. Well, somebody else could probably use them, and particularly somebody who's been affected by a flood or a tornado or a country at war. There really are so many people in need right now, Cancer, you would have no problem giving away or sharing some of the things that you might not think are important anymore, but that could really help somebody else out with. So why don't you try that, Cancer? Because those 4 planets in Pisces are shining down on you. Mars means that you've got to understand that there can be danger lurking in hidden places, so you got to be a little bit more alert about your safety. But at the same time, it's the phonies that are tripping themselves up, the people that are doing covert things behind the scenes or making useless power plays just because their ego demands it. Okay, you can pass on all those people, Cancer, they're not your type. But there are plenty of people around in your community that could use a little sympathetic support from you. And, nothing wrong with sharing, and nothing wrong with, sometimes there's just nothing wrong with being there to listen. Listen to what people have to say. Maybe that will make them feel better, that you care enough to listen. You'd be surprised how many people, particularly in this era of social media, that don't listen anymore. But I think, Cancer, you would. Okay, what does it mean to Leo? Leo, this is a time when, with that moon in Sagittarius trining your sun, that you can be thinking of far-off places, or you can be thinking perhaps of going back to school, to college, or to get a graduate degree. That would be nice too, if you don't already have one. Or it can simply be, Leo, that you may know of somebody who is either a woman who is either religious or from a foreign country, and who is very congenial with you. In other words, maybe you both share the same interests, something like that, or share the same purpose or the same cause. And remember, if you have any extra money, big money can save the day now. And there might be some money that you have around, Leo, that you haven't really been doing anything with. And maybe if you put together some sort of proposal, you could help solve a problem for people who are in a dire situation. It's one thing to give your money to good causes, but it's another to solve problems, immediate problems that need it. Because some people are on the verge of life and death situations now. And that can be from natural disasters. It can be from a real lack of education where they have to blindly obey others because they don't have the kind of skills to go out and earn a better living. Or people who are in captivity, who yearn for freedom. There's all kinds of ways for you to help others, Leo. And Leos are very generous people. But instead of doing something that would please you, why don't you get together with somebody else to solve a practical problem that will please a lot of other people? That's what I mean about big money saves the day, or big money comes to the rescue. It simply means whatever it takes to get a problem solved now. That's what we need to do, is get it solved now. And it's going to take some money to do that. But it doesn't mean that you have to work harder, Leo. You have to think better, or train your mind to go to the problem-solving solutions, not the idealistic solutions. Save that for a gentler time. So I hope that you get together with people who have a problem, and you listen to what they have to say, because maybe you are going to be pretty instrumental in solving their problem. And that would be wonderful. You would be a hero in everybody's eyes. What is wrong with that? Nothing. So try to look around and just say to yourself, Leo, what problem do I want to solve today? Because there's plenty of them out there. All you have to do is choose the one that will bring out the best in you. And then I think it will be successful. Jupiter is coming into Aries next month, and it will trine your sun. Things are going to open up for you. So now is a good time to be a little bit more selective in how you want to spend your time. That's all I'm saying. Think it over. Okay, what does it mean to a Virgo? Well, Virgo, this is a time, remember, when you benefit greatly from the 4 planets in Earth signs that are all trining your sun, Virgo. Because now the Sun in Taurus and Mercury, your own ruler, and Uranus are trining your sun, which means there's probably more money coming your way, Virgo. Or you may be instrumental in working with others to develop a plan, because Virgos are very good at planning things. You could help develop a plan that can aid people who may want to rebuild their community after a bad circumstance, or natural disaster, or war. Or you could come up with some good problem-solving solutions that other people need. In other words, they need answers pretty fast. You're good at that, Virgo. Generally, Virgos are thinking ahead all the time. And so the Virgo thinks of the problem before it even happens. Simply because they'll say, uh-oh, what if that happened? Or what if this happens? And there goes the Virgo thinking, okay, if something goes wrong, how would we fix that? So by the time it does go wrong, you already have the answer, which is great. So I think you're going to be in demand, Virgo. You may have to stay up a little later at night figuring everything out. But people who are the captains of industry, or they are certainly in top management in corporations, government agencies, or institutions, would really appreciate a person like you that comes up with answers, practical answers too, and somewhat efficient ones. Your sign rules efficiency, so that something can be done in the simplest and generally most cost-effective way. So you could get involved in something like that because Pluto in Capricorn is also trining your sun. You're actually coming into a more active time, not so much because you selected, but simply because other people know about your talent and they want to solve some problems, so they probably will be asking for your help in doing that. And you are very well aspected to succeed at that, with so much support in the earth signs, all trining your sun. So I hope you go in that direction, looking for practical answers that are efficient and cost effective. That would stretch the dollars as far as they could go to help others. And I think that you would be very satisfied at seeing those problems get solved that way. Okay, what does it mean to a Libra? Well, Libra, this is a time when I would say that you could almost afford to say pause right now. Just take a pause or take a break and try to sum up where you are now, Libra. Not where you want to be, not where you've been, but just where are you now? And the reason why is there's only one planet in an air sign right now, and it is Saturn in Aquarius, and it is trining your sun, Libra. But it is a planet that represents either people who have known you for a long time and they trust you and like you quite a bit, or simply people who are sort of influential and they admire you. I mean, they back you up, which would be great. So where are you, Libra? That is something you've got to sort of figure out. And that is because Pluto is in Capricorn at 29 degrees, well backed up by the planets in Taurus, but it is squaring your sun. And so it's a question now, I think, of power on the one hand and energy on the other. Do you have the energy to step into a more powerful role? Is that what you want? Because that's what it's going to take, Libra. It can be that you're already a pretty smart person. And it can be that you have enough experience that you know what you're doing. You could help others in dire situations. You could come up with some good answers or some good plans or cost-effective ideas to help others. That would be great. You could volunteer for something like that. I would maybe suggest that you start by volunteering. That way you can see if your energy level is as high as it would need to be if you went further. And so start small and say a day or two a week doing something. See how that fits into the rest of your schedule. If it fits pretty comfortably, you could try a little more, or volunteer to take on a higher position or more responsibility. But it's you that has to decide just what is your energy level and how far can it take you. So I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about commitment. And if you've got the commitment to spend a day or 2 days a week on something, well then do it. Just to see where it leads. And this is a time when we all need to help each other. Well, what is an outstanding trait of a Libra? Tact. charm, knowing how to get along with everybody, saying the right thing at the right time. Libras are really good at that because your sign rules peace, and it doesn't mean that you always feel peaceful, but you may be the kind of person that can bring a lot of other people together in a way that it doesn't rub anybody the wrong way, and in fact, they can sort of all get along with each other. And you would have a gift for knowing how to do that. So see how much your energy level corresponds to your ambition right now, Libra. And if you're saying, I don't know if I've got enough energy, then just try something out a little bit and see how that affects you. And if it feels okay, you could try a little more. Okay, what does it mean to a Scorpio? Well, Scorpio, this is a time when you may be thinking to yourself, well, I certainly want to help people who are in dire circumstances. And yours is a water sign. All the water signs rule healing. You have 4 planets in Pisces trining your sun. You can be very concerned with other people that are hurting right now. And yours is a fixed financial sign. If you are around other people who have some extra money, they may be part of this big money group that decides to come to the rescue or to save the day. And that means that you might be instrumental in getting people together who can commit a certain amount of financial support to a practical problem. In other words, people who need a loan in order to rebuild their community. I mean, somebody's got to pay for it. Well, if they're the victims of war or a natural disaster, they don't have the money, and besides, they're going to have to start from scratch. But your money might be able to help them do that. Or the friends that you have. Maybe you could form a consortium that says, okay, let's get together and try to set up a loan program that could help a lot of different people according to the rules of the loan. I mean, you have to sort of really set that up. But maybe you could do that. And that would be helpful. So your sign is both sympathetic because it is a water sign, and being blessed by those 4 planets in Pisces, I think you are going to come to the aid of people who are less fortunate right now. And you probably will be able to help them out in one way or another. Something that you can just, I think you're going to do it very easily. It'll be something that you just think of and it's easy to do. And so I think that that'll work. But at the same time, there's 3 planets in Taurus already, and there's going to be more in 10 days because we'll have a new moon, a solar eclipse. But there are 3 planets in Taurus that are opposing your sun right now, which means you have to be a little bit careful not to get in some sort of knockdown, drag-out fight with somebody else who wants a lot of money right now. They might not want the money for the same thing that you want to use the money for, and that could inflame a situation. And so if I were you, and somebody is sort of coming at you fiercely, I would duck. I wouldn't waste any time on them. Because other people in the world have much bigger problems than greed. They have nothing and they need help. So whoever is being greedy right now, don't spend any time on them, Scorpio. Instead, try to do good for others in one way or another. And particularly in a way that is simple for you, because I think you're going to be successful at that. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Sagittarian? Well, Sagittarius, the moon is in your sign today. Lucky you. It's the only planet in a fire sign, actually. So you could be sort of lost in a reverie or a dream about what you wish you were doing instead of whatever you are doing, Sagittarius. And you could be sort of actually wishing on a star, you know, hoping for change and knowing in your heart that it's time for change. And so I think that you're sort of on your own, Sagittarius. There aren't any other planets in fire signs, so there's no support for your sign. But also, you can be deciding somewhat in your mind whether you wanted to go all out for something that you know will be hard work. It will be quite an honor to achieve, but it would take a lot of dedication and hard work for years. Or whether you want to sort of sit back and enjoy life the way it is. You know, traveling, meeting interesting people, following different court cases, and, you know, trying to figure out the legal ramifications of things. You have a good mind for that. But, so you can either decide that you like the status quo, or you can be thinking of something that you want to achieve that's pretty wonderful, but that will take a lot from you. It may take a lot of extra money. It may take a lot of time and hard work. And I don't know if you've really decided to go that route or not yet. And it's not really a question of whether you can afford it. Even if you can't afford it, you could probably get a loan for it. Once again, just like Libra, it's a question of energy and time. Do you have the time to make a multi-year long commitment to a goal and stick with it? Because I'm just asking the question. I don't know the answer. You do, but I don't. Or do you want to continue on doing what you're doing, which can be fairly comfortable to you? In a way, doing what you're doing isn't going to last too much longer because you are going to be able to expand in your life. And that's because Jupiter is coming into Aries next month, and it will be trining your sun. So this is a pretty good time for you to sort out what you want to do for the next few years, Sagittarius, and how much it's going to cost, and how committed you feel to it. So there's quite a bit to think over. So I think you should spend the time doing that if you can. Okay, what does it mean to a Capricorn? Well, Capricorn, this is a time when you can be thinking, where's the money? Or should I try to get a part-time job and, you know, either a second job or something that's part-time so that I can make more money? You may be in the mood for that, Capricorn, because there are 3 planets in a fixed financial sign, the Sun, Mercury, and Uranus in Taurus, and they are all trining Pluto in your sign, which is at the 29th degree of fate. Your sign rules the traditional 10th house of career. And so you're at a point where you have to decide just how serious you want to be about a career now. And this is not a new career. This is a career that you had in your mind for a long time, and you probably have been taking steps, you know, slow but sure, over a fairly long period of time to prepare yourself for the kind of career that you want in the future. It doesn't mean it's the only career you've had. You could have had a lot of other things that you've done in your life. But now you're sort of thinking of, gee, do I really want to take the next step, probably to be more in charge, more in power myself? And, you know, I would say the possibility of you doing something that is associated with money, more money, is pretty good right now, Capricorn. Either the money is coming to you because you're already in a position to, in other words, you have a business, well then maybe it'll grow. And more money coming to you with those 3 planets in Taurus trining your sun. Or it can be that if you take a small amount of money or sell some investment and and join with others, you could form a coalition that could maybe set up a loan program so that a lot of people could rebuild their communities, their own homes, or gain skills that will allow them to have a better lifestyle. So I think that you're on the verge of something fairly big, Capricorn, but it isn't overwhelming. It's something you're prepared for. I don't think anything's going to bowl you over. Nothing. It's just a process of taking the next step after quite a long period of preparing for that. Okay, so I think the preparing is getting over, and you really have the talent. You can do it now. I think you should take the step, and I think there's more money coming to you if you do that. So if I were you, I would advance right now, Capricorn. I don't see anything stopping you. Okay, what does it mean to an Aquarian? Well, Aquarius, this is a time when things could quiet down for you a little bit in one respect, and it is that there aren't any planets in your sign right now except Saturn, which is in your sign. Well, it's been there for a couple of years. Actually, Saturn is going to leave your sign by December, and so Saturn is called the great taskmaster. It's generally, when it comes into your sun sign, it's there to teach you something, and generally you have to learn it the hard way. So it's only in a person's sun sign once every 28 to 30 years. It's not like you have to keep worrying about this, Aquarius. The time is over soon. It'll be over by December. And Saturn will then go into Pisces. But for right now, it's the only planet in an air sign. And it can be having the effect on you of making you a little bit more tired, and also feeling a little bit more lonely or alienated or depressed. Saturn rules all those things too. And yet yours is the sign of the future. And so what kind of future are you looking at? You are looking at something in your future that is going to involve big money. And the reason why is that there are 3 planets in Taurus already squaring your sun. The Sun, Mercury, and Uranus. And in 10 days, there will be a solar eclipse, which will be the Sun and the new moon and those planets in Taurus, squaring your sun. And so that really means big money, because that's what Taurus represents. And what you might be wondering is, even if you were going to come into some money, or you had something that, say, you could sell, that's pretty valuable, and it would bring you more money, do you have the energy to know what to do with the money? Or have you thought beyond where you are now? If you could say to yourself, what would I do if I had a lot of money right now? Would I be helping others? Would I be investing it? Would I be buying and selling something, and maybe that's how I would get the money? You need to think a little bit more about something that is of pretty good financial value. And I don't think it's being threatened, other than by, if you sell anything, you're going to be paying taxes on it. But other than that, I think you need to lift yourself out of the doldrums a little bit, Aquarius, right now, and really work on trying to put a smile on your face and make yourself a little happier. Believe it or not, sooner or later, we all have the ability to make ourselves depressed because we dwell too much on something that is dragging us down. And then we don't spend time thinking of all the good things we've got. We just dwell on something that's missing. And that's what makes us feel alienated and lonely. And so you need to pick yourself up and dust yourself off, Aquarius, and get back in the race, because there could be a question of something that is of great financial value that you might be associated with. And you need to think a little bit more carefully. Start asking yourself some questions about what if I had more money? What if I sell something? What would my taxes be? Think ahead a little bit, Aquarius. I don't think you're doing that now, but I think you need to do that. And by the time we have the Taurus solar eclipse in 10 days, you're really going to need to think of that, because that eclipse is going to square your sun. So, there could have been times when you didn't think you had much of a future, but I guarantee you do, Aquarius. And all you need to do is start thinking about it. Start thinking about tomorrow. And you may as well stop thinking about yesterday. It's over. So just give yourself a chance. Okay, what does it mean to a Pisces? Well, Pisces, this is a time, because your sign has 4 planets in it, that you can be very determined and very sympathetic toward people who are in dire circumstances. And it can be due to a natural disaster, or it can be due to war or rebellion or some sort of real displacement in their lives that, that is so big and so overwhelming that they can't solve the problem by themselves. They need your help, Pisces. And so Pisces is a very comforting sign. You could think of a Pisces as, a soft pillow, something that always wants the best for you. Something in your life, Pisces, that is heartwarming to you. And by being around something that sort of makes you feel comfortable and cozy, it helps to put you in a mood and prepare you to be sympathetic outwardly to others and charitable to others. And I think Pisces, this is a time when you would have plenty of opportunity to try to help others in some way. And because yours is a healing water sign, it would be some easy, common sense, practical way. Okay, it wouldn't need big money. In other words, just sharing what you own with somebody. In other words, that old line, somebody was so nice they would give you the clothes off their back. Well, that's what a Pisces is like. They would do that. Well, Pisces, why don't you? In other words, try somehow to share some of the things maybe that you're not using in your home anymore, but gee, get them out there for others who are in dire conditions that need anything right now. So volunteering your time or volunteering something you own to be shared by others, that's a pretty quick way to show you care. And I think Pisces always does care. Now, you could overdo it a little bit. Well, don't. And the reason why is Mars is in your sign. Venus, Jupiter, and Neptune are in your sign. They are heaven sent. You are under fantastic aspects to be an angel to somebody. But that Mars could make you work too hard or worry too much. And so you got to keep a lid on that a little bit, Pisces. Try to keep a balance. But a Pisces is a very comforting person. In just small ways, so is Cancer. Cancer is a nurturing person. They sort of know how to be a friend without even talking about it too much. And so, how do you know if you're successful like that? Well, it's because your heart is talking to another heart, and they're both listening. And it works. So Pisces, just remember, danger lurks in hidden places. So you do have to keep your guard up a little bit. But if you were, it wouldn't take big money for you to be helping somebody out. It would just be from one heart to another. And it would be very comforting. And I think that it's when the heart heals that the life gets better. Whenever your heart heals, your life goes on and does get better. So if you can help heal somebody's heart, you would be an angel, Pisces. I hope you do it. All right. Thanks so much for tuning in. Remember, you can see the show and read our blog on our website, starborninstitute.org. And if you would like to see the show, I would be happy to send it to you personally every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time if you would like to subscribe to it on my Karen Campbell YouTube channel. So I hope you do that and tell your friends. And thanks a lot. I'll see you next week. Bye.